Well, I've just got back from the Etihad. City 5, Crystal Palace 2. An absurd game of football. King Kev, of course, the star of the show today. Wonderful stuff to see the great Kevin De Bruyne put on a great display like that, given everything that's gone on around him recently. Heartbreaking at the same time. I am losing my voice a little bit, so you have to excuse that if you don't mind. I was there today at the game. You'll see some content on my social channels which will explain what I was doing there. It was good fun. It was sort of a bit of a surprise kind of thing. And I absolutely loved it. I was very nervous it was going to be a day to forget, if I'm being honest, given the way that we started this game. But in the end, it could have been 7, 8 goals for Manchester City Football Club. I'm not exaggerating to say there that this was a game where City's attacking prowess was fully on display after a very weird start to this game. I'll be honest with you, at the start of this, I was genuinely nervous. When I saw that lineup, I did sort of fear the worst a little bit. You know, it was a weird lineup given recent weeks, you know. McAtee getting a start with a forward line with De Bruyne as a false nine, Marmoush coming in off the left, Gundogan ahead of Gonzalez and Kovacic, Rico Lewis and Nico Riley at fullback, and Guardiola and Diaz as centre-backs with Edison. So no Savinho, no Doku, no Grealish, no Bernardo Silva, which of course has been an awful lot of change, no Kusanov. It was just really strange lineup, if being honest. And it felt like all the wingers were on the bench. We saw Oscar Bob come on eventually, Doku, Grealish, Savinho. It felt like we'd gone for a really strange team. And in the end, I guess Guardiola was proven right. But I can't deny it was sort of painful. I turned to a mate who was sat with after like 25 minutes saying this could be humiliating because, of course, Palace went up really early. 8 minutes in, the easiest goal, caught behind Nico Riley with absolutely no pressure from the midfield. Nico Riley caught him behind. It felt like they had about 4 people to aim at, but in the end, Eze tapped it in after Sarr set him up. 2-0 very early on, Adam Wharton corner. Richards headed it in with absolutely no composure defensively from Manchester City, and it could have easily been 3-0 with, I think it was Eze, was it? Put it in the back of the net as well. Was Eze? I think it was. Very easily just beat his man, and he was offside by by what, inches. We got very lucky there that it wasn't 3-0, and it felt like it was going to be humiliating. But the beautiful, wonderful thing about football is you are not done until the final whistle. And given everything that's gone on this season, I feel like we needed a game like this. We needed a game where we turned it round, and hopefully it can act as a catalyst to save what's been a pretty poor season. I felt with almost certainty that we were going to mess up this game. There's going to be plenty of changes and all that kind of stuff at half time. I felt that was inevitable, but for whatever reason, it clicked, and a lot of it was inspired by the Ginger Prince, Kevin De Bruyne, our king, our saviour, our greatest ever, a man that maybe we're starting to think is going a little bit too soon, because Kev put on he rolled back the years and put on a wonderful display. I was chatting to a mate during the game and saying, I want to witness a great Kevin De Bruyne performance before he moves on, and this is what we got from KDB. He was absolutely involved in everything Manchester City did. He rolled back the years. His hamstrings did him a favour, and he put on a wonderful display. He started, of course, with the free kick. He put it in off the post. He'd already had a sighter. He'd hit the post and had been involved with an earlier chance from Omar Marmoush. He was already heavily involved. This was by far his best game of the season since the very, very early on. He was absolutely pivotal. A beautiful goal, of course, goal. The second goal, the equaliser, only 3 minutes later, sent the stadium into raptures. At this point, I was like, oh, football, man, I hate you, but I love you at the same time. Marmoush is such a goal scorer, man. Like, I feel like if Marmoush was in a better Manchester City side, he'd be on a goal a game so far, but as it is, he's still scoring goals, Marmoush. You can't deny that quality, and he's just ace, isn't he, Marmoush? Another goal for him, the equaliser, the right place at the right time as always. Very Alvarez instinct that for the goal, and then, sorry, if you wonder what my hand's doing, I'm using my laptop behind my phone to sort of keep up with all the narrative of the game. It was a mad game, you've got to allow that. My camera's broken, so I'm using my phone, a new phone, and I've got a light here, and I don't know. Hopefully this looks okay. Half time, obviously, we went in feeling pretty good about it. I was expecting City to, come out aggressive, which is not usually our thing, but we did come out with a lot more purpose. De Bruyne got another assist. This time setting up Kovacic with a beautiful finish from Kovacic at the end of the area. He's scored a few goals this season, and he needed that, if I'm being honest, because Kovacic has had a bit of a mare recently. Really nice goal into the far corner, and the game felt like it was going to be over when McAtee finally got the fourth. He'd missed a couple of chances in this game, James. I'll get onto the individuals soon, by the way, but the goal was beautiful. Edison with his 7th Premier League assist, which is a record, of course, for a goalkeeper. He's broken his own record there, added to it. A beautiful, wonderful pinpoint long pass that James couldn't quite get under control until the second bounce, which was enough to get past the keeper, and then the composure to roll it into the empty net. Beautiful stuff from another academy lad, and it was finished off once again by another City fan, Nico O'Reilly, with the fifth, about 10 minutes before full time. Well, not about 15 minutes given the injury time actually, but by around 80 minutes. It was a lucky deflection, but McAtee and O'Reilly, they both got an instinct of being around goal, haven't you? You can tell that they were forwards at some point through the academy. Another goal for O'Reilly, and eventually the game was done. Cue a whole bunch of substitutions, including Savino, Oscar Bob, Grealish, Doku. But yeah, look, ultimately, it could have gone disastrously wrong today. It nearly did. I was genuinely worried that this was going to be one of those days that we see as a bit of a nadir, a low point, because it was diabolical in the first half in terms of our defensive structure. We were so easy to get at. But momentum and confidence and swagger, so much of football, this is why I love football, is psychological. If you have the upper hand, the momentum, you're probably going to win the game. We went from being so close to being 3-0 down to essentially winning 5-2. It's just an absurd swing of self-belief. And I felt there were a lot of good performances in the end, I don't think it's a coincidence that Kovacic had one of his best games of the season alongside Nico Gonzalez. Nico Gonzalez makes this City side so much more assured. It feels wild to me that he wasn't in this team against Man United. Why not, man? Because we are so much more physically and tactically astute when Nico Gonzalez is there. A bit of tenacity, a bit of intelligence, a bit of great aggression, and it even allowed Gundogan to get forward as well. He got himself an assist, of course, as well. It just felt a lot smarter when Nico Gonzalez was there. Defensively, we weren't at our very best, but we had enough from the players when we went forward. I thought Rico Lewis, much maligned, I thought Rico showed his value in the second half in particular. The amount of times 2 or 3 people were pressing him, and he found a way to bypass the entire Palace press with a nice little turn or pass. Really smart play. Look, I'm not saying he's a long-term solution in midfield or defence, but I think he's a very smart footballer. It's very obvious why Guardiola likes him. Nico O'Reilly again. Look, this guy is obviously a nailed-on squad regularly now. You can tell he belongs at this level. Yes, defensively there are issues there. You can tell he's not got the defensive acumen or the deep, long understanding of how to play at fullback, because he isn't. It's a new role for him. But you cannot deny he's a technically brilliant footballer. The best bits from Nico O'Reilly came when he had the ball at his feet, like a lovely little dribble, doing the little sort of like Zidane pirouette or whatever at one point as well in his own half. Oh, beautiful stuff. And of course, getting forward. Very much involved in, I think it was a Kovacic goal, wasn't it, where he overlapped it back to De Bruyne, then Kovacic. And then, of course, as well, getting his own goal. Well, Nico O'Reilly, 6'5", technically great, versatile. Rumours of a new contract, absolutely keeping him around the team, really good. And Vardiel, decent again. Diaz, they weren't perfect. Ederson wasn't perfect with his own stuff defensively, but you saw his weight. It was worth his weight in gold with the assist. I was really happy for McAtee. Now, I saw a lot of people criticising him online. I thought James showed an awful lot of bravery, and this is not just because he's an academy lad. I just thought he was involved in an awful lot. He was letting himself down with his finishing. And a couple of crosses got away from him. But I don't think it's coincidence that he was consistently in the right place. His movement is smart. His brain is very smart. And he's not quite found his confidence yet. I get it, because he barely plays any real meaning in football over a strong period of time. But I think he deserved that goal for his commitment. His pressing was really good. His movement was very good. There's a couple of really nice little link-up play with De Bruyne away. De Bruyne away blasted it over where it should have been 3-2. McAtee set him up for that. And the goal was incredibly well taken. Look, if McAtee wants to stay with the likes of Bernardo and Gundo and De Bruyne move on as a squad player next season, hopefully he gets better and better, I'm all for it, because once again, he cares about this team. I thought Marmoush, once again, he has that eye for goal. He's involved as he always is. And clearly very, very talented. And KDB, look, he just rolled back the years. KDB was just ridiculous, wasn't he? I'm looking at his stats for the game. 1 assist, but he felt like he was involved in more than that, wasn't it? Key passes 4, he got his goal as well. He was just absolutely everywhere, and he was brilliant at his very impressive best. And it was lovely to see Oscar Bob come on with some beautiful footwork. Savino gone. Doku playing through the centre with Grealish. It was just absolutely wild. But ultimately, that was a performance that City needed today. It was not, a perfect performance, but it was an entertaining game, and the team showed an awful lot of character. And we're currently sat in fourth as I'm doing this video right now. Villa. Currently playing, I think they're drawing 0-0 and playing right now. Let me just double check. But if we can stay, where we are right now, it should be very, very, very useful, because let me just double check the current results. Sorry if I'm interrupting you, if this feels weird, as I'm typing. But yeah, Villa currently 0-0 Southampton. Forest currently 0-0 with Everton. Come on, Southampton. Come on, Everton. If those guys can drop points today, that would be massive for us, wouldn't it? Yeah, that would put us in fourth, like legitimately as well, with Villa playing the same amount of games. So hopefully, I mean, they'll probably win. But either way, if we'd lost today, I would have been certain of the Europa League. We found a way to get the victory in a very entertaining game of football. I had very good seats today, so it was a real honour watching Pep up close with the players and watching the intensity. These players do care. I watched Rodri sat in the stands and applaud Kevin De Bruyne at one point. I posted it on Twitter, and it sort of went everywhere. It was a beautiful photo, and just watching them today, like they're aware, and Guardiola, you can see it in his face, he's aware the standards have not been up to scratch this year. They've been nowhere near the level that you associate with Manchester City Football Club. And that's sort of fine to an extent, you know. Look, you can't always be perfect. We've dropped off this season, absolutely no doubt. But I would argue that even though things aren't perfect, we saw today, you know, strong impacts from Nico O'Reilly, James McAtee, young players involved, Marmoush, Nico Gonzalez, Kuznov was on the bench. We've got a good core of young players that need time, but they'll get experience and hopefully they'll improve together. When you bring some new signings, that I don't think things are irredeemable. I think we could be a lot better next season with a few smart changes. Yes, De Bruyne is still probably our best attacker going forward, but he's Kevin De Bruyne. Yes, it does hurt that he's going, but we got to witness him, and at some point you have to let go. You know, you can't just keep him because you want to. I guess you can actually. What am I on about? Keep him, Man City, keep him. But either way, we got the victory today. Not perfect, but thoroughly entertaining. And we're only a few victories away from the Champions League now. If you can get there, it would be absolutely wonderful, because City without Champions League football would be catastrophic. Do it, Blues. Get De Bruyne the FA Cup as well if you can, and hopefully the legend signs out with the respect and success that he deserves. I'll do more videos tomorrow on this. I'm going to go rest my voice now because it's nearly going. It could have been a disaster. Ended up ridiculously entertaining. We'll see. You're a weird shambles this season, but I sort of love you anyway. Like the video and subscribe. Let me know your thoughts on the game below. In a bit, Blues.